Hello and welcome to the 5-Minute Film Club, and today I'm talking about Octopussy. Last week I said that For Your Eyes Only was a bit of a restart for Roger Moore's James Bond, with a new director and a slightly more grounded story. And it did really well at the box office, and as such, a new film, Octopussy, was scheduled for 1983. However, as I said in my last video, Roger Moore considered For Your Eyes Only his last Bond film. The hunt for a new Bond then involved auditioning actors like Michael Billington, who was seen briefly at the start of The Spy Who Loved Me, and also American actor James Brolin, whose screen test was quite successful, but in the end they decided against an American as Bond. Now this is when Kevin McClory, who I've talked about many times before, and the issue with Kevin McClory and Eon and Cubby Broccoli is the fact that it all stems back from when Ian Fleming originally in the 50s was trying to adapt James Bond for the screen, and him and Kevin McClory and another writer came up with a film script. That film script was Thunderball. The film didn't actually go anywhere, but what Ian Fleming did was he essentially ripped the plot of the film that he'd made with Kevin McClory and put it into Thunderball and didn't credit Kevin McClory at all. He got rather annoyed, obviously, and sued Ian Fleming. The long and the short of it is that Kevin McClory owned the rights to Thunderball, the movie, and tried for many years to get a remake of the film off the ground. Well, that eventually happened in 1983 with Never Say Never Again, bringing back Sean Connery to the role of James Bond. This rather scared Cubby Broccoli, and so essentially threw as much money as he could at Roger Moore to get him back for one last time. And while all of that was going on, the rest of the cast was being put together, with returning actor Maud Adams from The Man with the Golden Gun having signed on to a James Bond film without a James Bond. Octopussy takes its name from an Ian Fleming short story, but little else, as Bond is tasked with stopping a slightly crazed Soviet general named Orlov, who is going against other Soviet leaders by planning secretly a further assault on Western Europe in an attempt to gain world domination. Orlov is in partnership with an exiled Afghan prince who takes the real artifacts, Russian artifacts, that Orlov is smuggling out of Russia and then sells them so that Orlov can use that money to buy weapons. I was trying to decipher this plot and write it down, and like so many of the Bond films that I've been reviewing recently, I don't care. I don't care the plot of this film. It makes no sense whenever I try and write down the Bond plots, because that's not the film. You know, I've written that down. That is the plot of Octopussy, but that's not the experience of watching Octopussy. Roger Moore, again, is too old to play James Bond in this film. But that all being said, I'd much rather watch Octopussy again than ever having to watch Never Say Never Again. But I'll get on to that film next week. There is so much stupidity and nonsense in Octopussy that it really defies criticism. And even though Roger Moore dresses as a gorilla at one point and a clown and swings through the trees while they play a Tarzan scream, I still can't get away from the fact that I quite like Roger Moore as James Bond. Even though he's too old, it'll be sad when I won't be watching a James Bond with Roger Moore in.
Fill her up, please.
And a lot of the stuff that's in this film would appear a few years later in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. These two films are not that different. And as much as people rat on the opening of this film, I enjoy it. I enjoy the mystery of the bizarre clown running along with the Fabergé egg and the indestructible red balloon that is attached to him. Yeah, it's a weird opening, but yeah, I enjoy it. It sets up a good mystery. The film doesn't follow through on that mystery at all, but at least the opening part of this film attempts to have a bit of a story involved. Now don't get me wrong, Octopussy is not a good film, and I detest the scenes on the streets of India, which they don't feel like 1983, they feel like 1963. It is incredibly offensive. And the line that Bond says, well, he says this.
Keep you in curry for a few weeks, wouldn't it?
But I do like VJ in this film. and his death is probably the most affecting thing in Octopussy. Octopussy for me feels like a James Bond film made by a 6-year-old. It's got a pantomime villain in General Orloff, played by Stephen Burkoff. Then you've got an island full of beautiful women. And the film literally starts with a plane coming out of a robot horse's backside. And to top it all off, the film is called Octopussy. How can you top that? Well, before I get to reviewing Roger Moore's final outing as James Bond, I have a little film called Never Say Never Again that I've got to review. So join me next week for my review of that film. It's not good. I didn't like it. But until then, please subscribe. Please comment your thoughts, as you do, which is I enjoy reading. I do enjoy reading them and commenting back. So please continue down below, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.